Listen, if you want to be over emotion, you picked the wrong person. I'm already sitting here with tissues, crying. It's so beautiful, Martin. Congratulations. Honestly, what an honor and what an amazing platform you've created. Sharing yourself and sharing yourself with others and sharing others with others. It's.
I know.
Already, you're not supposed to do it yet. Amazing.
Amazing.
Everything you just said. It's been incredible. It's been quite a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I was very Canadian, eh?
Hey, that's a great impersonation.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. I was just saying
feeling all the feels.
I'm feeling all the feels. I was like, whew. All right,
I like that for you. I think that's so good for you.
Yeah.
Nice cerebral Aquarian friend.
Yes. Yeah, I want to keep it up here.
I know you do. Have you had Alex on yet? Have I missed that episode? Well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, we need to have Alex in.
We do. Yeah, we're working on that.
By the way, you smell delicious. Is that
thank you.
I almost peed my pants when I opened that up and saw that. Let me go to his page, and then I saw you doing that. I was laughing so hard.
That's awesome.
But now I know you're 2-timing me or 20-timing me with everybody else.
200
timing me. How many conversations have you had now? What number?
I honestly, I think we're close to 200. We really are.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yes, it's good.
Yeah, it is. I'll bet, and I can only imagine how much you've gotten to take away. I've seen a handful. It's one of those things where I would love more hours in the day, so I could just sit and watch. But
I have this is my first book where I would just take notes from every conversation.
Oh, that's great.
Just as I was just coming through, so I just flipped this open, and I started this in June. So Jenna Zaffino, Support, Amplify, and Connect. Right after her was Jessica Villant, which is your Safe Space Becoming a Brave Space.
Safe space becoming a bridge space?
Brave space.
Brave space. Oh,
so
I love that.
Yeah, because the conversation was like, we always talk about like, this is a safe space and come on into my studio, it's a safe space. But there's still the onus on me to be brave in that moment, to share, to be vulnerable. So how do I cultivate that place where you can be courageous enough to share that? So it's still on you to be brave in that safe space.
Yeah. Well, the more you're inspired, the more you inspire, hopefully. Mm-hmm. But it is taking those chances, being courageous, being brave, and being really authentic. It's challenging, this human world we're all in. It's a bit tough, but what an amazing thing, because the more you do it, I always think about that. Well, it's a question mark as to whether it was Nelson Mandela's speech or whether someone had written it, but when we allow our own light to shine, we unconsciously allow others to do the same. Mm-hmm. And I just think the more we keep working on being who we want to be, the more others are just hopefully inspired to do the same or feel brave enough to try the same.
Right.
I'm still learning it all. I still watch people out there and just feel like, wow, I just want to get deeper and more raw and more brave. So it's a process.
Yes. There's a comment here from Alex that flew through. No crying on your second date.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you for loaning him out to the rest of the world.
Yes.
You're very present in all of his conversations, so that's wonderful.
Mm, yes. And I see Sal just showed up here too. Hello, my friend.
Sal. Oh yes, I should be looking at the people. I always try to look at the person I'm talking to, but I always forget on the Insta Lives to look for the people.
Yes. And Kevin Ortiz, Pilates Dwell says hello.
Yes, yay! Thank you, Kevin, for showing up. I wrote to him all the way back when I first saw his interview with you, and I was like, "Can I do something with you?"
I know it. Yeah,
I'm still waiting, Kevin. I'm still waiting.
and
Heidi
that,
Paul.
yeah, and that one big table, that line from my conversation with him as well, right? Like the
You have to
times that
remind me.
so one big table, he was saying, I have a question about your buddy there too, actually.
My
So
hound.
yes. So so one big table, he was saying that, in that time of wanting to representation of voice and speaking, saying that like the table is big enough for all of us to sit there. It's not that we need to usurp one person. It's just that let's bring those voices and that diversity because it's one big table, right? And it was
Yeah.
just a beautiful way of capturing our thoughts and sentiments during that time. So
I mean, I have been humbled, and I'm ashamed to admit it, but I've been humbled by just how little I had no, I really, oh God, I'm really embarrassed to say that. I really had no idea how many Black Pilates teachers there were in the world. I didn't know. I'm ashamed. I feel terrible about that, but I didn't. And I'm so grateful to you and to everyone for showing up in a way, yeah. I've met a lot of really wonderful people. I've taken great classes. I feel very grateful, and I feel ashamed that I didn't know more before.
it's all good. It's
When
one
we
of those
know
things.
better, we do better, right? So
Exactly. And that's on this platform, these conversations that I have are really asking you, where are you today?
yeah,
Right? Because I mean, like, we all have our experiences, our past, and our transgressions in the past, but where are you today is the
yeah.
question.
Well, I didn't even think I was honestly part of any of those transgressions. I didn't. I've always been a very open, inclusive person, and I never, I don't know. You don't know what you don't know until you know it. So I
Right?
just didn't
Yes.
know, and I'm sad. I know that a lot of it is changing, and I'm really glad about that. But
Yes.
yeah, we almost needed the world to stand still so we could all move inside of
Absolutely.
us.
Yes.
Like
Absolutely.
the stability mobility, right? Something has to stay still so we can all move
Yes.
inside. So a lot of
Yeah,
movement
exactly.
this year.
Tab Pilates. Hi,
Hi,
Tabitha.
Tabitha. Yes, I took a class with Tabitha.
Yes.
I thought, Tabitha, I'll tell you now, I thought that you were teaching teachers, and here I joined, and it's this class of women. Oh my God, it was so wonderful. But I thought they must be looking, who the hell is this girl who just joined? Oh my God, it was fun. It was wonderful. She's
It's
a beautiful,
wonderful.
beautiful person and mover, and yeah, I really just oh, thank you, Tabitha. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I could just go on about all the amazing people like Tabitha
Oh,
as well. Just my conversation with her, just what she's done in her community, and just I've seen her when we're talking, sharing panels with her, just hearing her talk. I want to just write down everything she says. Like she's so smart, like in the business side as well as the
yeah.
Pilates. Oh, like there's just amazing, amazing people. So, and I
Wonderful.
I have to say too, Brooke, like our first conversation, for those of you who are watching, the first time that we talked was the half hour before we went on air. Like we
That's
did
right.
a class. So it's not like I had, and being, in the personal training world, but not really deep in the Pilates world, and having not gone to like a PMA conference and all these different, like I haven't been out in the Pilates world to know how big you are. When
Well,
we first started,
I mean,
you know?
I've never been to, I'm not a, I never was part of the PMA. I've never been to a PMA conference either. So I
Okay,
don't
so there
know.
you go.
I
So we
mean,
had that in common.
I think in a weird way, I've always just kind of been, Ramana always said, mind your own business. Like just kind of literally mind your people, mind your what you're doing. Don't always
Mm,
be looking outward. And I, for whatever reason, that always kind of worked for me. I'm not somebody
yes.
that was always looking at what you're doing. What is she doing? What's he doing? I just was
Yes.
like, what do I want to do? And
Yes.
so it did, I think, make me a little myopic in that I just kind of had what I was doing, and I didn't, if people were interested, great, but I was doing it because I wanted to do it. So, yeah, I think as wonderful as it is to be so big in this world, because it gives me a voice, which I do appreciate.
Yes.
But yeah, I think there, there's people who have, tons of, or I don't know, maybe better
Influence.
known, or
Yeah.
it's not, I don't know.
Yeah.
As long as I have a voice, as long as I have a seat at the table, I'm kind of happy.
Yes,
I just want to be
exactly.
there.
Right, exactly. And that's where I was going with that, is that you use that voice in such a great way to
Thank you.
amplify, like, and it's so authentic too. Like, it really is authentic.
I'm
And
learning. I'm learning as
yeah,
I go. And when I have something to share, that's why I wrote my little tag thing on my Instagram is sharing Pilates, because for me, it's always been about sharing what I'm learning in that moment. And it
yes,
changes. And it changes. So I dig sharing, which is why this has been such a phenomenal year, because it's created this online culture that is fantastic. I would have never gotten to know as many people as I have online, and yeah, I hope it doesn't end, that part.
no,
I mean, I
exactly.
won't let it. I'm
That's exactly it. Like, just that I wrote down sharing, like that word sharing, and just
sharing is caring. They teach the kids. I'm sure your kids will come home with that. Sharing is caring.
right. Yeah, there is some truth in that. Like, it's not
There's
just
a
a
lot of truth
cliche.
in it. We
Yeah.
share what we love. Oh, I had to try this new restaurant, or I tried this new food, or whatever it is. It's always around
Right.
food for me.
Yes.
But yeah, you share, you share, you want to share what you love with people you love. So every time something new kind of comes up for me, I always remember no such thing as a stupid question. So I think I'll put it out there because maybe somebody else is interested. I really don't care if it's one person or 100 people. I really don't. I just,
Right.
I've been touched by one line the same way you have. Somebody, I can watch 3 hours of a show, and one line will change something for me that gets me thinking. For a long time,
Yes.
it was what you're not changing, you're choosing, which I still love.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
you are not changing, you are choosing. That shifted my universe. And then, it's just every time I'll take a line, and then I want to share that, because I'm like, well, if it had such a profound effect on me, perhaps that might happen for somebody else too. So.
Right, exactly. And the fact that you couldn't like rattle off 6 or 7 quotes right now is because you're living it out, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. Like, I feel like I'm living them out. I don't necessarily have to have them memorized, but they're in my body, like, better every day. As
Always a
simple
white
as that
belt.
is.
Always a white
Always
belt.
what? Yes, that's tomorrow. That's Aaron.
Cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
Aaron Gall. He's on tomorrow. He said that, white belt forever, and
White
I
belt
wrote
forever.
that down.
I was quoting you, quoting him to somebody else the other day. To my
Yes.
brother, who was a black belt in karate back in the day. And I said to him, white belt forever. My friend Martin said from a friend of his.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a sentiment in the Pilates world, which I feel like we've done such a good job of toppling this last year too, is that holding on to knowledge. Like, I'm the gatekeeper.
I've never understood that, but we don't know what the motivations are behind people who live like that. And I really work on being as non-judgmental as possible. Sometimes it's so quick and easy to be like, oh, why do people do that? But then, then you have to say, well, actually, why do people do that? I'm sure there's a reason.
Yes.
People do things for reasons. So, maybe if you feel that's all you got, and so you want to hold on to it because you're afraid that your worth isn't valuable once you've given that away. It's a possibility. There's someone I'm thinking of.
Right.
Not me. I give it all away. I think I have more people telling me, you shouldn't give that all away. I'm like, but why? What am I going to do with it? And it changes all the time too, right? So it's funny. I love that, actually, if I'm allowed to say something that I love about myself. I do love that I am always changing and growing. It can fall to the negative as well sometimes, but I have a very open mind, and I like it can be really painful, but I like learning new lessons, even if they make me go, whoa, what was I thinking before? But that's important too. I think
Right.
yeah.
We need to face that ugly, like, sometimes too. Like, it makes us better. Like, it really does.
Yeah.
And like, those uncomfortable conversations, those like I
I've
said
had
that
a
right in the
lot of those this year or last year, whatever,
mm-hmm.
in the year since I've seen you. A lot of
Yeah.
them,
I know.
which is it's great, and they are
Yes.
uncomfortable. But
Yeah.
that's how we, as you know, that's how we grow. We have to move
Yes.
into that, out of that comfort zone.
Mm-hmm. This,
I
yeah,
think it's a
those.
matter of balancing though, how often we do that. Sometimes I'm like, oh, just need a rest,
I
and then
know.
I'll come back.
Yes. Yeah,
Because
I
I
got.
found myself last year starting to do so much that by the end of the year, I really was like, okay, what am I doing? I
Yes.
need to pull back. So I just taught my first workshop on Friday this year because I was like,
Okay.
I need a breather. It's
Mm-hmm.
a lot, even online, you're still bringing, well, it depends on who you are, but you're bringing forth a lot.
Oh, right. Exactly.
Yeah, so it's a
Yeah.
lot of energy to hold,
Yes.
and I'm somebody who's very, I want everybody to have a great experience. So I take all that on, like somehow I'm meant to create all of that. And, you can just show up and be you. And I always give everyone permission in the beginning to say, that's a load of crap. Like, yeah, I say at the end of the 2 hours, you can walk away and be like, well, that was a load of crap. But if you'll just suspend disbelief for the 2 hours we're together, maybe we can open some minds. Maybe we can make some discoveries. I always
Yes.
wait for that, the money moment. The money moment. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
The money moment, which is that one where like you're taking a workshop and you may not think anything's really happening, but then that one line comes out. That one,
Yes.
white belt forever line comes out, and you're like, oh, that's it. That's it.
Yes.
Okay.
So
We're a little codependent.
I can tell. My wife actually has a question about your dog.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's Great Dane?
Great Dane.
Okay.
Yep. This is a blue Great Dane.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you. Shame.
And she wants to know what made you decide to get a Great Dane. Like, such a
Oh,
big
my
dog,
whole
a big
life.
responsibility, right?
My
Like,
whole life. Well, I mean,
it's not.
any dog is, I think any living creature is a responsibility. I think
Yes.
once you have kids, But
Right.
yeah, no, they are. But I don't know that she's any more of a responsibility than any other size dog. But since
Then a
I'm a
lap
child,
dog you can like just take with you everywhere. Like,
you still have to feed it and walk it and do all those things. I mean, maybe the walks are shorter, but
right.
I honestly, since I was a child, I've had a thing for Great Danes. I I used to, I have a little joke with my husband because I always said when people would ask me when I was younger, what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I was like, I always wanted to be a writer, but I usually would say, I don't know, but I know what I want my life to look like. And they were like, well, what is it? I'm like, house, horse, dog. That was it. And I
House,
laughed at my
horse,
husband
dog.
because I said, husband wasn't even in there.
Wow.
House, horse, dog. So
Yes.
I got over the horse thing about 6 or 7 years ago. I leased a horse, and it was so much work that I was like, oh man, no, I don't know, maybe I'm too
You're
old for
over
this
it.
now.
Yes.
So now it was just, and then it was house and dog. And then we moved
Yes.
here to England and bought, this is my first house.
Mhm.
And then I was like, dogs up next.
Yes.
And my husband and I met online. And one of the things that, I mean, it really was kismet. And one of the things that, because we're in year 20 now, and one of the things that was amazing was I said to him, if you could have any dog in the world, what would it be? And what would you call it? Because
Yes.
we were, courting online.
Right.
Back in 2001. And he said, well, he thought about it, there was like a pause in the texting, and then he wrote, well, our neighbors down the road had this Great Dane named Marmaduke, and I loved it. So I guess I would say a Great Dane, and I'd name it Marmaduke. And I just was blown away. Of all the dogs he could have said, he
Right.
chose a Great Dane. And I was like, I went rushing and I scanned a picture of a Great Dane that I had on my fridge, and my sister had 6 of them on her farm. So I've just always loved Danes. They're just my, you have a dog or an animal in you, a guinea pig,
right.
a rabbit, whatever it is. But for me, it's a Great Dane.
Nice.
Yeah. Sorry, a long-winded way to answer
No,
that.
it's okay. The funny thing is, though, when I was growing up, I was like, I'm gonna get a sports car that has two seats in the back, so that if I have kids, we'll have two kids, so I can still get my kids in my sports car.
But no dog.
And no dog.
Are you not a dog guy?
Yeah, I'm a sports car guy.
Okay.
I'd rather have a classic car that can fit my two kids if I have to. That was like my thing growing up. Like, you get a dog, I get a classic car. We're
I think
happy.
that's a man thing. My husband just got a vintage Triumph Stag that
Oh, nice.
it's, or Stag, is that, did I say it right? Triumph
Spitfire.
Stag? What?
There's a Spitfire as well, a Stag.
No, no,
I
no,
gotta
no.
look it
It's
up.
definitely a Stag, but I said it wrong the first time I said it. I said like a Stag Triumph. You said, no, it's a Triumph Stag,
Triumph
right?
Stag. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
But, and he's planning to take it all apart and put it all together, like, because it doesn't really move.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's, and
Right.
then you wrote and you're like, I got my summer car out or whatever. You're
Yes.
driving your summer car.
That's my summer car. Yeah, exactly.
Love it. Listen,
Yes.
whatever floats your boat.
Yes, exactly. And those are the conversations. It's so funny because like it seems like there's this huge tangent from Pilates world, but that's the thing that lets people into our world. I mean, like, you love dogs, I love dogs. You like cars, I like.
Dana!
Yes. Oh,
Hi,
Tina's
Dana.
there. Your buddy Dana.
She is my buddy Dana, and watching her. In fact, I was watching her on your interview with her or whatever, your conversation with her,
Mhm.
that absolutely twigged something in me. And I called her afterwards and I was like, oh my God. So she said this one thing when she was talking to you. She said, you know, it's funny. We never questioned. I think I told you this, Martin. But she said, I never questioned why in our manuals, because I have Romana's manual right here.
Mm-hmm.
In our manuals for the mat section, it was like pictures of Joe. And then suddenly there was like a different person.
A
It was
random
like a
guy.
picture of a person doing something else. And then a
Yes.
picture of Joe. And then it was like, and she said, and we never questioned why all of a sudden was there some other person, some other body doing the exercise. And that really like, whew, that lit my brain up. So
Yes.
we've been having, she's way, has done way more work on it than I have. But the more I've kind of opened my mind up to like, wow, what Joe did was very different than what I learned. And then allowing
Yes.
myself to play, things have changed for me in a
Mm-hmm.
big way, big way. But I feel like I'm still, I'm in that pupil stage, you know, of I'm processing it all.
Yes.
And as you know, I work out, I have my group that I work out with each morning.
Yes.
I have a different crew, no, two different crews. And we've been, for the last couple of months, just
Mm-hmm.
playing with all of them, all of those small differences that make a huge difference. And the work has just changed completely. It's amazing.
Yeah. So the question I have is for the new teacher, for the person who's learning and has
Right.
said, I want to learn the classical, the authentic, just the origins of it, like not the brand classical per se, but just the origins of this work. At what point do they have the permission to explore and go take a left instead of a right in terms of what the exercise is? Because like that's the piece, right? Like you want to understand the origins, but then you also want to understand where's your launch point into exploring movement.
You know, I'm going to defer to Dana for that because she has been taking clients. She started, I think it was at least a year and a half ago, because she was here in England with me back in 2019. And we were teaching a workshop, and she said, you know, Brooke, I've been starting to train my clients from the get-go, from the word dot, when they walk in the door,
Mm-hmm.
teaching them from Joe's stuff directly.
Yes.
And the changes, she said, it's amazing how quickly, she said, you don't have to, when you put them into those right positions, you don't have to say all the rest of the stuff. And it's true. And when
Yes.
she said it at the time, I thought, yes, you know, I could intellectually understand it, but I wasn't ready to go there, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know when you know you're ready to go there or not. I mean, so she's the person to ask, and maybe, I don't know if Dana, if you're still listening and you want to type
Mm-hmm.
in that you can, she said that the changes are amazing. Not the changes, sorry, because the people don't know anything else, right? So
Right.
that would be the question. I mean, for me, it feels like they're more, in a weird way, like more sophisticated ways of holding your body. So I feel like, to me, I needed the 26 years to get there, but maybe not. Maybe you can just start from the beginning. And I don't know. I haven't, I don't have a studio, as you know. My studio is my home studio. I don't teach professionally, like people. I don't have people coming in. I don't have clients. I moved to England to be mom. And then this year happened, and now I'm a Pilates teacher again, but online, right? So I don't know. I don't have new people to play with that with.
Yes.
There we go. Project Return. Yes. Project Return is Dana's kind of, returning back to Joe's stuff. But talking about starting someone, like, first of all, when someone has permission, that's not for me to say. When you give yourself permission, that's when you have permission. So for me, I guess somewhere in me, I needed to give myself that permission. And then I started going like, oh my God, that's the ruby slipper. I keep hashtagging ruby slippers because, like, I keep saying to my crew, like, we'll be doing something and we're all like, oh my God. And we have all such different bodies. I mean, we are every different shape, length, everything. And we're all going like, whoa, like mind blowing. And so I'm like, oh, and we've had the ruby slippers all along. That power, that book, his work has been there all along. All those archival videos, they've been there all along. And yet again, I'm not ashamed about this one, but I do think it's taken me a very long time to be able to go like, why didn't I question some of those things? And like, where did that come from? And but it's okay. Like, I'm not chastising myself in any way. I'm going like, okay, so great. So you know that, and now you know this, and I'm still trying it on for size. It feels great so far. And I taught my first workshop on Friday and I just had no idea I was even going to start bringing the concepts in. I just thought, I'm going to teach this basics workshop, but I couldn't help it. It's like, again, that sharing. When you're going through that transformation, you can't help but want to share, like, oh my God, look, this worked so much for me. Let's see how it works for you. And across the board, again, these are all contemporary teachers I was working with. Nobody on a Gratz piece of equipment. No, it was really, and it worked, because the work works. Like
the work works.
The work works.
Yes.
And Joe left us so much great stuff to look at, and Elaine Ewing sharing her wonderful stuff, and Sean's, getting more generous, I believe, with sharing his stuff. And, but there's enough out there to play with. I mean, I don't know how much we really need. I mean, I know there's a lot of people who want everything, but I don't know that you need everything. Just
it's like I say that with information, like you can only start with one thing, own it, and then move on to the next thing, right? So
exactly.
Here's Dana's comment here. Joe set us up to succeed from day one. It's just understanding how to present it in the body in front of you. He wanted this work to be at home and all over, so it isn't making harder. He's too smart.
And we've spent years complicating the work. It's not designed that way. It's true. I mean, so the coolest thing right now working with is this lifting of the chest. And so pulling your chest up, how in Return to Life and March Madness has obviously been super fun because everybody's digging into, a lot of people are digging back into the book, which is wonderful. And Jean-Claude, thank you for all your beautiful work that you're putting out there. But what I love is this, this whole chest thrusting and the lifting of the chest. What's so fascinating. I was like, am I going to say this? Yes, I'm going to say this. So the lifting of the chest, what's so cool is when you really pull up on the chest and the chin kind of just falls into its place, or I say on the stack, your abdominals just hollow. Not from being pulled in, which restricts the diaphragm, but from it hollows because you're working on that internal kind of core. I don't want to use the word core, but core, I mean, in like the core of an apple, center, as in that center, and that lifting of the chest just puts your whole body into alignment, releases your back, brings your legs into alignment. It's just phenomenal, and it's one concept. But when you start putting that into play everywhere, I am more jazzed. Like, I am more jazzed now than I've been maybe in I loved I will say I got super jazzed in September when I did my Wonder Mat, but I have not been this jazzed about Pilates since maybe, I don't know, 20 years. It's been that long, like probably since my first book. It's really, I'm enjoying the process. And I like also that it's just me playing with my friends in the mornings and, you know, just Tim Ferriss, you must know Tim Ferriss.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I've been a fan of his for a long time. I think he's kooky and great that he puts himself into his own experiments. And so he does his 5 Bullet Friday, right? Where and I love, he always does quotes on pondering. So this one really shook me up. And again, it's quotes on pondering. Both he is pondering and I've been pondering. And the quote is, we should do as little as is needed, not as much as is possible. It's gonna make you angry. It made me, well, I don't know. It made me angry at first. I was like, what? No, we always do as much as is possible. And then I was like, wait a minute. Take it back. Think about the applications.
Yes.
You know, there are places in the world where, yes, we want to do as much as is possible to help, let's say.
Right.
But as little as is needed, I took it into the body because Tim is, you know, a physical guy. And it's really, you know, Joe's work, there's a simplicity to it actually that has, Dana's right, we've overcomplicated it. And when we start moving from that place, it really is like my workouts are not killer anymore. And I'm getting more from it. My body has changed completely this year. I feel great, like great, which is really how, you know, ultimately, I feel amazing. Yes. And I'm doing, to me, less effort. It's not less effort, but it's less, you know, because you're a trainer.
It's efficiency, right?
What's that?
Efficiency.
It's definitely efficiency. And it's hard work to hold those places. Like the work is still challenging, but it's different. And I think, and I'm going to throw this out there, and I know you're a guy, but anybody who's out there, you know, the whole perimenopausal and menopausal stage of life is a challenge because everything I tried to do for the last 3 years to change my body or to get to where I was feeling good was making me feel worse. I was going right back to what I know, which is work out hard, sweat,
just pound
drip,
it,
more. And I was exhausted, and like even if it looked good on screen for a minute, I was wiped out for the rest of the day. And now every morning, you know, after my workout, I get you return to life. You have this amazing zest and vigor. You haven't been wrung dry.
Yes.
It's amazing.
It is amazing.
As I keep hashtagging also, Joe Genius.
Yes.
Joe Genius. What a genius. What a genius.
There's such a simplicity to that. I think of one of my clients, I was really trying to get into Pilates, and he was trying to explain it to his wife, what I was doing with him, because he was there for golf and for his squash.
Right.
And he said to his wife, you have to try Pilates because when Martin and I do our workouts, I walk away feeling like tired or sore. I feel bad. Because when I walk away from my days doing Pilates, I feel good. And that's basically, that's how he broke it down to his wife. He was like, you walk away from Pilates feeling good as opposed to feeling bad. But I will be honest, I still get sore. Like I'm probably getting more sore now than I was from just doing what I've known for the last 25 years, just doing, and you know, I know that stuff, but your body, you know, having something new that's actually old. Yes. I was like, it's like digging into the treasure chest and finding there's like a false bottom, and then you put your hand in and there's like, you know, you come right around to the front. It's like this giant circle. It's fantastic. It's been really, I love when my mind gets blown. It doesn't happen always. So I love it. Well, a challenge accepted. I mean, like we hear that, and for people who are watching this, saying like, if she's been doing Pilates for that long and she's found this renewed sense of novelty and vigor with this, where am I? what have I been doing with my workouts,
and
right?
Really,
like
everybody is in a different phase of life.
Yes.
You know, I don't know that I would have been able to hear this in my 20s when I started Pilates. And also, I really didn't ever think that I would have had the struggle with weight and physicality that I've had in the last 6-7 years. I really never thought it could happen to me. Everybody said it would, but I was like, no.
Yeah.
I mean, again, stopping doing everything for a couple of years was stupid, but I wouldn't do that again. Now I realize, like, I'm a mover. I need to move. It's very important that I move. It's important for my mental health too. I definitely am somebody that swings into the anxious and depressive places. But since I've been creating more consistency and working on my diet in terms of I'm eating so much more green and, just changing all of that, it's just, I realize I need it. It's almost like how someone will take a vitamin every day. I need my accountability partners who I show up for every day. So.
Well, and Brooke, that's exactly where I was going to go with that. Like, you can look at what you've done in the last little while. Like, you addressed like hormones, you addressed rest, you've addressed working out super hard and then shifting that. You've addressed like creating and recruiting that accountability. There's so many different dynamics that perimenopausal and menopausal stages of life that, when there's a time when I had to do a presentation on women and training and during the menopausal phase. And books back then would say, just watch your diet and reintroduce resistance training because of the hormonal release from resistance training, which is true.
For bone density, right?
For bone density, and also the hormonal release, right? Like the serotonin and those things too. But it's not that simple. And like you said, there's so many different layers and everybody is different. So I love the fact that you highlighted all those different components to it, because it is,
it's all in there. And again, we talk more about this stuff now, which is great. We're more open kind of about everything. If people are looking for that, they can find it. Whereas there was, I don't know if there was shame around it, but just this morning on the radio, I heard there was a whole show about menopause. And I was thinking, now people, even the British are talking about it on the radio.
Yes.
That's big.
Yep.
But it was interesting because the other day, so I was working out with the crew, and we, I lead the workouts, as you know, because you're going to be joining us as my guest. But so we were doing this thing and, lifting the chest, and then it was upstretch. And I had everybody hold it into like a Cadillac push through position, the up part. And I asked them to consciously pull their ribs apart, as opposed to dumping into your thoracic, right? But just consciously pull the ribs apart. And while I said it, and I was like, and then press back, right? So we did it, and I'm telling you, Martin, I was joking that back in the day, I used to love a good drug. I'll just put it out there. I did. Yeah. And so I felt like maybe there was some left over, because this release of serotonin, like taking a tab of X, it was like, oh my God. I had this serotonin release that went through my body, and I was buzzing. I mean, it was crazy from this pulling open of my ribs, releasing my diaphragm. I have to have I have this connective tissue disorder. So I have a couple herniations just under my rib cage. Again, these don't bother me very often. I think Pilates really holds me together, but allowing myself to expand my diaphragm, because you know what? Joe had that. We were always told, always barrel chested, as if that's just a thing you are or you aren't. But his back was flat, and he expanded the bottom of his rib cage. That pulls your diaphragm. I mean, and it's so funny. It's like all the puzzle pieces are coming together. I've spent years since 2011, 2010 studying anatomy and physiology. But it's like, Joe genius. It's just amazing what released from that. And they were all joking with me. They're like one of my friends was like, well, I've never smoked, but I feel like that was like the cigarette after the orgasm. And I was like, it keeps coming in waves. It was amazing.
Yes. Yeah. It's 49 minutes before your sex reference came in. I was waiting for that.
I could have started the whole thing with that.
I was
trying to be good.
Right. Yes. It's so funny. One of the lines that you just glazed over was that Pilates keeps me together. Yeah. And it's like, I'm gonna write that down, because how many people in the chat would agree that? Like, that's hands waved. Like, Pilates keeps me together. Yeah.
I have a connective tissue disorder that My brother also has it. It's a maternal side. My mom had it also. She's since passed, but my brother, and he's an athlete, you know, or was one, but, and maybe, you know, he just has a more severe case than I do, but he's falling apart.
Yeah.
No, I don't have Ehlers-Danlos. I have Loeys-Dietz, which is like the Marfan's crazy cousin. So a lot of people know about Marfan's because Michael Phelps has it. So like my wingspan, that's why my legs are so long. My dad was 6'4" and I'm 6 foot, and we have the same length legs.
Yes.
And my arms are about 6'3". So, you know, I call myself the orangutan. I'm either a giraffe-tan or an orangutan. I haven't decided. Both. I'll be both. But so, yeah, so that connective tissue disorder, you know, I did go in for, I had open heart surgery where they repaired an aneurysm on my aorta. That was back in 2010. And I went in preventatively. I was like, what am I going to wait for it to tear? Let me just go in now. But I really do wonder, like, if, you know, I look at my brother and his struggles with his health and his body, his physical body. And then I look at mine and I go, oh, I think it's Pilates that's just keeping it together. I'm not going to stop doing it.
Right, exactly. It's
I'll
like
let
duct tape,
I'm always
right?
like, I can't really answer the questions until I'm, you know, until until I'm done.
Right. Yeah.
Which is like, I don't know the answers until we're done, right? And even then. So.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. I can say that.
It is totally good stuff.
It's totally good stuff.
Sorry,
I love the monkey body. I love that name, the monkey body. Yeah, no, Connective, Loeys-Dietz it's called. It's named after the two doctors that discovered it. But it's how I have these crazy long fingers. It's all the very long, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm long.
The one of the conversations that came up last year was around the Pilates body.
Oh yes.
Remember this?
Do I remember? It's still coming up. I was just looking at whose site was I just looking at? Was it Danica's? No. It's Teresa Ellis, Pilates Bar and Jam. Yeah.
Yes.
Because she's like,
Love
there's
her.
no such thing as a Pilates body. Love her. But there's no such thing as a Pilates body. It's hard, you know, it's a challenge for me because I get it. I get where that all comes from. I already kind of wrote my apology letter to anyone who might have felt
othered.
Yeah. I feel teary because that's not me. I'm not, I wouldn't do that because I've felt that myself, you know. Of course. Nobody really knows what anybody else is going through. So like, you know, so yeah, yes. I get it. And that's one of the things that I think is important is to be able to, I don't always have to agree with everything, but I can still see somebody else's perspective. And I get how that terminology could be, you know, kind of that it became something other than what it was intended to be. Yes. But
sorry, go ahead.
No. Just I know that with the word intention, you have to be careful too, because it's like, well, it doesn't really matter what you intended. This is what happened, and I get it, and I you know, I never meant for that, and I would do whatever I could do to take it back if that's what's getting you. But I also feel like I do have a sense of what a Pilates body is, and maybe it's just, you know, for me, it's someone who moves with ease in their body, you know, who's able, that's its end goal, is to feel good in your body. That's all I ever, that for me, that's what it, you know, that's what it did for me.
Absolutely.
So, because yeah,
so I was going to say, Emmett's question here, can you please explain the issue in a few words? And I can do that. So the Pilates body thing, Emmett, was that there's a phrase about the longer, leaner body. So the suggestion was in saying a Pilates body is that a Pilates body was this long, lean body, which in our very body conscious world was really rejected. And daggers were thrown towards Brooke for writing a book on what the Pilates body looks like. And how dare you say that the lean body is the only Pilates body out there. And it was nasty. It was nasty. And I'm the type of person that pushes against this cancel culture with redeeming words instead of canceling them out altogether. So when you say the Pilates body, let's redeem that word and look at the skeleton. Let's redeem that word and look at the feelings of feeling good in your body. Let's redeem that word and see how doing Pilates can set your hormones off to make you feel better, how Pilates can put you back together. So there's a sense that the Pilates body is the body that has benefited from Pilates in whatever way that looks like in your body as you're moving towards your own personal goals. That's how you redeem a word. I'm so bothered by a cancel culture that says let's burn every Pilates body book and let's cancel out every time someone says. So I felt like I needed to not just jump to your rescue per se when that happens, but to the rescue.
I wouldn't even ask you to, because
No,
I don't need it.
Yeah, I got pushback for like defending you. I got like private messages because I felt like I was pushing back against the notion that we need to cancel that word, that concept.
Well, and also, I think where it can be challenging, and again, if I need to be open-minded, so do you, not you, but everybody,
Everybody,
and so if I can stand in that space and say, hey, listen, I'm willing to take a look at this, but also back down a little bit, you need to understand where I was coming from, and I explained it. For me, coming from a gym culture, that's what it was. It was about not being bulky.
Right.
That's not about not having fat on your body. It's about not being bulky. It was about bulky muscles, because that's what Joe said too. A bulky muscle is inefficient. So that's what lean meant to me. I totally get, though, how it sounds. I really do. And that's my, I hope that's a gift that I can say, I get it. I hear you. I absolutely do. Please understand that I really am. Again, I never would other anybody, but I absolutely also did not intend it as like, you have to be skinny. It wasn't that. I grew up, and I know, please, I'm not looking for anyone to sympathize with this at all, but I was so, again, because of my connective tissue, I was this beanpole with these gigantic arms. I was just this tiny, skinny thing. Skinny was the worst thing you could have said to me. It made me feel awful to be called that. And I get that. Listen, again, I totally understand that that's like what people strive for, but that's your own business. That's not my business. That said, I would have never, that was not what I was going for with that. But yes, long and lean, I absolutely, I said it, and I mean, I know what I meant by it. That's all I can say. I know what I meant by it.
Right, exactly.
So, but I've worked with every shape body that there is. I love bodies. I love Zofty bodies. I love anybody. I love bodies. Yes. And people, and the people that house them. I feel like Anula, my love. I feel her in my head. Yes, the whole person represented.
Exactly. Yeah. And then when you circle back around to what you're saying about sharing Pilates, like this is what we do, is from this place we share and we equip and we empower everybody with this gift of Pilates.
Hopefully, if people are willing to accept it. I mean, you have to be in the place to want to own it. I know plenty of people, skinny or who look like they quote unquote look good in the societal sense, but they suck at the work and don't really want to do it. And then people who don't fit the mold, who are brilliant.
Move amazingly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, you can't satisfy all the people all the time. That's
no, you can't.
And it's futile to try, right? So yeah.
I just think that we just keep growing. We keep growing. There's so much. There's so much. I would be really sad if I still was stuck in that place 20 years later. That would be sad for me.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm not. I totally. I hear. I feel. I get it. I get it. I do whatever I can do. I'm one person, but and I'm okay. I really didn't. When it first came up, I was like, I remember I was sitting and like watching the interview, and I was like, I think they're talking about me. It was a little bit of a moment. And I felt like this flush of embarrassment, like, oh gosh. I almost felt like I was in trouble. And then I was like, no, wait a minute. You're a grown woman. You didn't, like, that wasn't where I was coming from back then either. But, like, I so get it. I really, yeah, it looks bad.
Absolutely.
It does look bad. I get it. Yeah.
Yes.
You know, again, that's all I can only do what I can do.
Right.
So.
And I love, and that's what we're saying, like, where are you today? And that's really where we land with that. Just reading a few of the comments here. Jamie says, the book changed my life, and it is how I learned to move and connect with my body. And then Dan's Purefoy, consistent class with Lucy in the Pilates Studio Frankfurt has got me through the pandemic. She is a wonderful teacher. Classes leave me sane and calm. Exactly. That's the beauty of Pilates and movement and all these things.
And it does, you know, we change every day in every way. I mean, really, hopefully,
right?
If we're doing it right, you know, we're growing. So, you know, you don't have to always change the method, but yes, it has to adapt. I wrote something on the teaser post yesterday about, you know, we have to look at people's proportions and have to take the whole person into account.
Right.
Always. And yeah, it's in a weird way. I mean, if you look at things in a time scale of the 50s, you know, the 40s and 50s to now, it's still new, you know.
Yes.
I mean, it's yeah. I mean, it's great. I'm glad it's happening, but yeah.
Yes.
So many eye-opening moments. It's just been an amazing year. I've been, you know, I know a lot of people have really struggled and people have lost people that they've loved and they've lost their businesses. And those are all that really, I mean, I don't know what to say about that. And then on another side, it has been just amazing. Like, I'm very, very grateful for so much that's happened this year.
Absolutely.
Including kind of connecting me back in. I really was gone. I was in my little bubble.
Yes.
So I'm happy to be able to communicate with, you know, Pilates people are my people. We speak we speak the same or a similar language. And, you know, there's history, there's new people that you're creating history with.
Yes.
But it's a common language. And so, yeah, I'm really grateful for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've been sitting on the edge of my chair this whole conversation, just leaning in, like physically leaning into the conversation, Brooke. I just love this chat. And I feel like I need a nap after this conversation. I'm so like, woo, like this is good. But yes, thank you for your time. I wish I could chat for another hour, but this is something that just continues through our day, right? Like, we continue this conversation in so many different ways. So I'm so glad that you came out of hiding. I'm so glad that we've connected.
Thanks. Me too. And so many levels. I appreciate you so much. And I'm excited that there's more to come. You know, these are like the buds that are now, you know, they get to flower and grow, and we see where the connections remain. And longevity is the name of the game. Like you said on your PMA thing, you know, you're looking in like 5 years, 10 years, the 20-year plan. You know, longevity. It's one thing when there's a big shakeup and things change, which is great, but then we need it to be long term.
Yes.
So
exactly.
I'm in for the long haul.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for dressing up for me.
I have my cologne on for you.
I appreciate it. It smells great.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone who joined us as well. Jamie, Allison, I see all you amazing people. And tomorrow, yes, Aaron Gall's joining us, aka White Belt Forever. And it's going to be a good chat. So thanks for kicking off an amazing anniversary week. And
congratulations again.
Thank you. Happy friendiversary as well.
Yes, happy anniversary. I love it. And there's a real significance in my life to the number 22. And I was really excited to do today on the 22nd. So
Okay.
Absolutely meant to be.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right, Sam, take care, guys.
Bye, everybody.